My wife posted a smiling photo with her work husband. Caption, "Some people just understand you better." I didn't argue, just left one comment. 10 minutes later, the post was gone, and suddenly, her whole family wanted answers. My name is Marcus Webb. I'm 39. I teach high school history in Denton, North Carolina, a city of about 45,000 people where 3 textile mills closed in the same decade and left a town figuring out what it was now that it wasn't what it used to be. I've been teaching here for 11 years. My students are 16 and 17 years old, and most of them are already carrying things adults pretend teenagers don't carry. And my job, the real job, underneath the curriculum, is to help them understand that what happened before them explains what's happening to them. Context, I tell them every year on the first day. Context is everything. My wife's name is Renee. She was 37. A project coordinator for a regional architecture firm, she managed timelines, budgets, the complicated logistics of turning a design into a building on schedule and under cost. She was organized in the way I am not. Precise in the way that made her good at her job and occasionally difficult to live with. And for the first 8 years of our marriage, those qualities had been mostly asset and occasionally friction. We'd been married 10 years. The man in the photo was named Cole Whitfield. He was 41, a senior architect at her firm, the creative counterpart to her operational role, which meant they spent significant time together translating vision into execution. He was talented, apparently. Renee had mentioned his work with the specific admiration of someone who respected craft. I didn't dislike Cole Whitfield from the mentions. I disliked what the mentions became. The grocery store parking lot. 6 weeks before the comment, I was sitting in my car checking my phone before going in for the weekly shop. The mundane Sunday ritual of a man who handles groceries because his wife handles other things, and they'd divided the domestic labor in the pragmatic way of 2 working people who didn't have time to fight about it. Renee's Instagram. I followed her. Of course I followed her. 10 years of marriage and a shared life, and a feed that had always been the ordinary mixture of professional updates, weekend photos, food she'd made or found, the usual texture of a person's public self. The photo had been posted 40 minutes earlier. Renee and Cole Whitfield at what I recognized as the firm's rooftop, the one she'd described when they'd redesigned the office space 2 years ago. Both of them smiling. Her head tilted slightly toward him in the way of people who are comfortable with each other's physical proximity. His hand near, not on, near her shoulder. The photo wasn't the thing. Photos happen. Work colleagues take photos. Rooftops exist. The caption was the thing. Some people just understand you better. I read it 3 times. Not because I didn't understand it the first time, because I wanted to be certain I understood it correctly before I decided what it meant. Some people just understand you better. Posted publicly. To 412 followers, most of whom knew her as my wife. Tagged with the firm's account. Cole Whitfield tagged directly. Not a private message, not a journal entry, a public declaration wearing the costume of a casual caption. I put my phone in my pocket, went inside, bought the groceries, came home, put the groceries away, and said nothing. I want to tell you what the next 6 weeks looked like from the inside. Not dramatic, not surveillance, not the kind of obsessive documentation that makes a person feel like they're doing something when they're actually just hurting themselves in an organized way. Just attention. The particular quality of attention that a history teacher develops over 11 years of teaching 16-year-olds who are trying to tell you something without saying it directly. You learn to hear the thing underneath the thing, to read what's present in what's absent, to understand that what people perform publicly is a curated version of what's actually happening, and the gap between the two is where the truth lives. Renee's Instagram told a story, not obviously, not in a way that would register to a casual follower or a work colleague or someone who didn't know her schedule and her habits and the specific geography of her professional life. But I knew all those things, and I read the feed the way I read primary sources with my students, not for what they say, but for what they reveal. Cole's name appearing in her stories with increasing frequency, the timestamps on posts that corresponded to evenings she'd mentioned working late, the specific vocabulary shift in how she talked about the firm, from we to a more particular he and I in anecdotes, a grammatical intimacy that happens below the level of conscious decision, and the energy. The particular energy of someone who is investing heavily in something outside the home, not depleted when she got back, activated. The specific brightness of someone who has been somewhere that matters to them. That brightness used to be for me. I noticed its direction had changed. I said nothing. I was doing what I always do. Building context. The comment happened on a Tuesday. Not planned for a Tuesday specifically. Planned for whenever the moment was right, and Tuesday evening the moment was right. Renee was at a firm event, a client dinner, she'd said, which was accurate as far as it went. I'd been home since 4, grading papers on the couch, the ordinary evening of a teacher in the middle of a semester. My phone was on the cushion beside me. Her Instagram notification came at 7:43. New post. I opened it. The same rooftop. A different evening. The light was amber, the kind that happens in autumn around 7, which put the timing at right now or close to it. Renee and Cole again. This time she was laughing at something he'd said, the real laugh, the one that reaches her eyes, the one I'd been trying to produce for the better part of a year. The caption again. Some people just understand you better. Not the same post. A new one. She'd posted it before, taken it down. I'd noticed its absence without commenting on it. And now she'd posted it again. Same caption, different photo, the specific repetition of someone who'd made a decision and then retreated from it and then made it again. I looked at the photo for a long moment. 419 followers now. Her mother was one of them, her sister, her college roommate who sent Christmas cards to our house, 3 of her aunts, my mother, who followed Renee because they'd always gotten along and because that's what family does in the age of social media, all of them seeing this photo, all of them reading that caption, all of them carrying their own interpretation of what some people just understand you better means when it's captioned under a photo of a married woman and a man who isn't her husband. I opened the comments. 6 already. All cheerful. Love this. You two are such a great team. Work besties. I typed my comment. 7 words. Posted it. Put my phone face down on the cushion. Went back to my grading. Before we go any further, if this story is pulling at something in you right now, please subscribe, drop a like, leave a comment, and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. It costs you nothing and it keeps this channel growing so more people can find these stories every week. It genuinely matters. Now, back to Marcus Webb. And the 7 words that made a post disappear in 10 minutes. The 7 words were, should I be worried or are you? That's all. No accusation. No explanation. No paragraphs of pain dressed up as a comment. Just a question. Addressed to my wife. Publicly. In the same space where she'd made her statement. I know what happened in those 10 minutes because Renee told me later when the telling was unavoidable. She was at the client dinner when her phone buzzed with the comment notification. She read it. Then she read it again. Then she showed it to no one, excused herself from the table, went to the bathroom, and deleted the post. Not because the comment was cruel, because it was precise. Should I be worried, or are you? It didn't accuse. It asked. It placed the question exactly where it belonged, not as my problem to manage, but as hers to answer. And it did this in the full view of 419 people, including her mother, her sister, and my mother, all of whom had just received a notification that Marcus Webb had commented on Renee's photo. The comment disappeared with the post. But notifications don't disappear. Her mother had already seen it. Her sister had already seen it. My mother, God bless her, had already screenshot it and texted my brother. The post was gone. The question was still out there. I was on the 3rd essay of the evening when my phone rang. Renee. I let it complete 1 full ring, the pause of a man deciding, then answered. Hey. What was that? Her voice had the controlled quality of someone conducting an important call from a bathroom stall. Quiet and precise. A comment, I said. Marcus. It was a question. Did you want to answer it? I'm at a client dinner. I know, I'm home grading papers. We can talk when you get back. My mother just called me. That's fast. She saw the comment before I could delete it. Marcus, what were you thinking? I was thinking, I said, that you posted something publicly, twice, and that the people who follow you, who follow us, deserve to see it the way I saw it. So they could ask the same question I'm asking. A long silence, the sound of a bathroom in a restaurant, the distant murmur of a client dinner she'd excused herself from. "Come home when you're done," I said. "We'll talk." I hung up, went back to the essays. She was home by 9:15. I was still on the couch. The grading was done. I had tea, which I'd made without offering her any, because I was done performing domestic normalcy for a situation that wasn't normal. She came in and sat in the chair across from me, not beside me, across, which was its own kind of statement, and looked at me with the expression of someone who had spent 90 minutes in a car preparing for a conversation and wasn't certain any of the preparation was useful. She was right. "My mother wants to know what's going on," she said. "What did you tell her?" "That it was nothing. That you were being—" "What?" A pause. "Sensitive." I looked at her. "Renee," I said, "I'm going to say something and I need you to hear it as information rather than accusation. Can you do that?" She nodded. "I've been watching something develop for 8 months. Not obsessively. I have a life and a job, and I'm not spending my evenings cataloging your Instagram. But I'm not oblivious. I notice things." "What things?" "The frequency, the energy, the way Cole's name moved from professional mentions to personal ones. The caption you posted in September and took down and then posted again tonight. The timestamps on things that don't match the explanations." She was very still. "I haven't said anything," I said, "because I was building context, because I'm a history teacher, and I know that a moment only makes sense when you understand what led to it. I wanted to understand what led to it before I responded to it. And now? Now you posted something publicly that asked a public question. And I answered it publicly. Because if you were willing to say it where 400 people could see it, I was willing to ask about it in the same space." "That was deliberate," she said. "Yes. You wanted my family to see it. I wanted the people who follow both of us, who see our life presented publicly, to have the same question I've been sitting with for 8 months. She looked at her hands. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it. "My sister," she said. "Are you going to answer?" "Not right now." "Okay," I said. "Then talk to me instead. Tell me something true." What came out over the next 2 hours was complicated. Not simple betrayal. Nothing in a real marriage is simple betrayal. It was the accumulated weight of a woman who felt professionally diminished at home and professionally seen at work, who had watched her husband's career plateau in the way that teaching careers do and felt, without articulating it, a growing asymmetry between who she was becoming and who she'd married, who had found in Cole Whitfield a specific kind of professional respect that had, over 8 months, become something she was feeding beyond what was appropriate. "Nothing physical," she said. "I believe you," I said. "That's not what I'm asking about." "What are you asking about?" "The caption. Twice. In 8 months, you posted that caption twice. That's not an accident. That's a statement. I want to know what you were saying." She looked at the floor for a long moment. "I think," she said finally, "I was saying it to see what happened, to see if you noticed, to see if it would produce something." "Like what?" "A reaction. Evidence that you were paying attention." "And when I didn't react the first time? I thought I was right, that you weren't paying attention. And now?" She looked up. "Now I understand that you were paying very close attention," she said. "And that not reacting isn't the same as not seeing." "No," I said, "it isn't." "Your comment," she said. "It wasn't angry." "No. It wasn't even accusatory." "No. It was just a question." "Yes." "Why?" I thought about how to answer honestly. "Because accusations can be argued with," I said. "Questions can't. And I didn't want to give you something to argue against. I wanted to give you something to answer." I deleted the post. "I noticed." "That wasn't an answer." "No," I said. "It wasn't. But it told me something." "What?" "That you knew the question was legitimate." Her mother called 3 times that evening. Her sister sent 6 texts. My mother, in the way of mothers who have known you for 39 years and understand that some things are best left unsaid until you say them, sent 1 text at 10:15. "Call me when you're ready. I'm here." I texted back. "Thank you. Tomorrow." The family's questions weren't intrusive. They were the natural consequence of a public statement meeting a public question on a platform where people who loved both of us were watching. Renee had chosen a public space to say something private. I had chosen the same public space to respond. The questions were what the public space produces. She understood that by morning. We started seeing a therapist named Dr. James Okafor 6 weeks later. He was in his early 60s, unhurried in the way of someone who had sat with many people in many difficult rooms and understood that the most useful thing he could offer was the space to be honest without consequence. In our first session, he asked Renee, "The caption, some people just understand you better. Who are you talking to?" She thought about it. "Cole," she said, "but also Marcus. Both at once?" I wanted Cole to see it, and I think I wanted Marcus to see it. What did you want each of them to see? Cole, that I valued what we had. Marcus, she paused, that I was capable of being valued. That someone saw something in me worth a caption. And Marcus, Dr. Okafor said, turning to me, the comment, should I be worried or are you? Why that question? Because it was the real question, I said. Not the one about Cole, the one about us. Whether what was happening was something I should be afraid of losing or something she should be afraid of choosing. And which was it? Both, I said. Depending on what she decided. What did you decide? He asked Renee. She was quiet for a long moment. That Marcus noticing, the way he noticed, quietly and completely, was the thing I'd been trying to produce with the caption, she said, and that I'd been looking for evidence of attention in the wrong direction. What do you mean? I posted a photo with Cole to see if Marcus was paying attention to me. And he was. He'd been paying attention for 8 months. I just didn't see it because it didn't look like what I expected attention to look like. What did you expect it to look like? Jealousy, urgency, something loud. And what did it look like? She looked at me. A question, she said. 7 words. That made my mother call me from 3 states away. Cole Whitfield sent Renee a professional message 2 weeks after the comment. She showed it to me. It said, I think we should recalibrate the dynamic between us, for the sake of the project and the firm. 8 months. Rooftop photos. A caption posted twice. Recalibrate the dynamic. Renee read it and put her phone down with the specific quietness of someone understanding something they'd rather not understand. He protected himself, she said. Yes, I said. The second the situation became complicated, he managed his exposure. I was an exposure. She said it flatly. Not fishing for reassurance. Just arriving at a fact she needed to say out loud to believe. You were a situation he was navigating, I said. Not a person he was choosing. She was quiet for a long time. How did you know that without knowing him? I didn't know him, I said. I knew the caption, and I knew what a man who is genuinely choosing someone does when things get complicated. He doesn't send professional messages about recalibrating dynamics. What does he do? He stays, I said, through the complicated part. She looked at me. Like you did, she said. For 10 years, I said. Yes. The conversation with her mother happened on a Sunday phone call 3 weeks into therapy. Renee made the call herself. I wasn't on it. She told me about it afterward, sitting at the kitchen table with the post-call expression of someone who had done something hard and was still processing that they'd done it. She asked me what the comment meant, Renee said. What did you tell her? The truth. That I'd been posting things I shouldn't have been posting, and Marcus asked a question I needed to answer. How did she respond? She said she'd noticed I seemed distracted the last time she visited, that she'd wanted to say something. Why didn't she? She said she didn't want to interfere. I thought about that. The people who love us, I said, spend a lot of time not interfering. And then a comment happens, and suddenly everyone's interfering. That's what public spaces do, I said. They make private things everybody's business. You chose a public space. I use the same one. She nodded slowly. I think I understand why now, she said. Why? Because you couldn't make it my business privately. I would have managed the private version. The public version was harder to manage. Yes, I said. That was deliberate. Yes. It was a good move, she said. I almost smiled. It was a history teacher move, I said. Primary source. Put it where everyone can see it and let people draw their own conclusions. 8 months after the comment, on a Friday evening in the particular gold light of a Carolina autumn, Renee posted a photo. Not the rooftop. Our back porch. The two of us, her sister had taken it during a visit the weekend before, one of those photographs that happens without planning because two people are genuinely comfortable and the camera catches it. No strategic composition. No performing a version of the marriage for an audience. Just a porch and two people and the evening light. The caption was 4 words. This is my person. I saw it on my phone at my desk at school between 5th and 6th period. I sat with it for a moment. Then I commented. 3 words. Yes, you are. 14 people liked it within the first hour. Her mother was first. Here is what a 7-word comment on a Tuesday evening taught me about 10 years of marriage and the specific way that public and private collapse into each other when we forget which one we're in. We live in a strange time. A time when the line between what we say to each other and what we say to everyone is negotiated post by post, caption by caption in real time, without always understanding what we're choosing. Renee chose a public space to say something about her marriage. I chose the same public space to ask a question about it. Neither of us was wrong to use the space. What we were both learning, slowly, imperfectly, through therapy and hard conversations and the particular mortification of a mother's phone call, was that the public space doesn't protect you from what's true. It just makes it visible faster. And visibility, as uncomfortable as it is sometimes the thing that saves something. Because you can't fix what you won't look at. And you can't look at what you've kept in the dark. Some people just understand you better. She posted it to be seen. I commented to make sure she was. 7 words. And we finally, after 8 months of quiet noticing and 2 years of growing distance and 10 years of a marriage worth saving, we finally looked at each other, clearly, without the caption, just us, which was, in the end, the only understanding that ever actually mattered. Subscribe if this one found you. New story every single week. Tell me in the comments, what do you think those 7 words did that a fight never could have? Drop your answer below. I want to hear it.